419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome back to another episode of the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. Do not adjust your sets or your radio dial. It is Matt Killam and Gretchen DeBacker single-handedly driving the ship this morning without Kevin. We are going to be rudderless.
We're going to hit an iceberg.
We're going to hit an iceberg.
Sure.
We've got some great guests, which carries the show anyway. But Gretchen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how anxious are you about the fact that we are here alone without Kevin?
I'd say 11.
That's a yes.
Yeah.
I get it. For those of you that are not familiar with the production of a show, Gretchen and I are, I would just say, the sidekicks.
I'd say more like pet monkeys.
Yes, that's right. If Robin from Batman and Robin had a massive head injury, that would then be the role that we played in the show. Kevin is a professional. I'm already hearing my voice compared to his, and I can hear people tuning out.
Yeah, I am. I'm tuning out.
But we've got a great guest. We have a dear friend, Justin Moor, the president and CEO from the Area Office on Aging.
Yes.
We've got Cathy Kamenca from WGTE, who plays a vital role in getting programming out and also getting out in the community. And of course, our beloved Meg Ressner, a recent milestone winner.
Last week just won the huge award, so we're going to be able to recap a little bit about what happened at the milestone. So very fun.
And again, it's a culmination of getting to have all the recipients on in a celebration of the YWCA and Lisa McDuffie's leadership.
Exactly.
She is just a tremendous asset to the community. Again, no one is still listening, but if they were...
Let's just pretend like it's just me and you.
Just chopping it up, yes.
We just need a glass of wine. Oh, wait, probably not.
We have had just a couple... I wouldn't say complaints, but notes online.
Okay.
And most of them were directed at Kevin.
Yes.
So this is our time.
About stop trying to be so cool.
That's right, yeah. And we stopped that a long time ago.
I think those fake accounts you're setting up to make those comments are really working
It's finally our move. We actually are covering up the fact that Kevin has entered rehab.
Yeah.
And he
would like some privacy this time for his family.
That's right. He just like respect as he's working through something.
It's after that day you called him grumpy. He's not been able to get over the hump.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes you just have to get the help you need.
And he deserves it. And by he, I mean us.
That's right.
This show has been, we're at about the halfway point.
Doesn't that seem crazy?
It certainly feels like it to a large degree.
Are you most pleased with the fact that we're halfway finished, or are you shocked that we still have the same that we've already done to go?
I've enjoyed the shows very much. We love the staff and crew here, right? And selfishly, why we got into this was to be able to get a little bit more ingrained in what's going on around town.
Yeah, that has happened.
Yeah, and this show is a good example of that. And it is rewarding when people stop in the street and say, hey, I didn't hear this, or I didn't know this, or this is a positive thing. And I also didn't realize how many people were driving around or listening to the radio at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I agree. That's the time when people are running errands and picking up kids from school and listening to National Public Radio, so it's awesome.
We are winding down our first segment without Kevin.
Yeah. Are you ready to do the outro?
It's a quick...
Are you nervous?
No, what's an outro?
An outro? I don't know.
It's a quick... Our quick rate is going fine. Again, this is Matt Killam and Gretchen DeBacker. We are solo this morning without Kevin. When the break comes back in, we'll be with Justin Moor, the leader of the Area Office on Aging, a great institution in our city.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back to the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. This is one of my favorite episodes of the week. Candidly, our great and dear friends at the Toledo Community Foundation have allowed us to bring in community leaders and people doing important work all really throughout our region. And a fine example of that is admittedly a friend, Justin Moor.
Welcome.
With you guys.
Thanks for being here.
And you made me spell this out based on your ego. You are the president and CEO of the Area Office on Aging.
That's right, yeah.
How long have you been in that role?
I was in interim for a year and then 2 years as permanent.
2 years.
Yeah.
So tell our audience what the Area Office on Aging is and what you do.
Yeah, the Area Office on Aging, we're all about helping people 60 plus with living better and longer. We also support their family caregivers. We know a lot of times sons and daughters are caring for an aging loved one and the like. We want to help set them up for success and caring better and longer for their aging loved one. We know that work is tremendously important, not only for the individuals that are age 60 plus now, but eventually, God willing, for us, right? That we all aspire
5
to
years.
live long and better. Yeah.
I'll be 60 in 5 years. Anyway, what kind of services? I know that there are a variety of senior centers in the community where seniors themselves can go and engage in all kinds of activities, but what are the other ways that, for example, caregivers can get involved with the Area Office on Aging?
Yeah, so for caregivers, a lot of times people are very selfless, right? They're caring for their aging loved one. They think it's all got to be on their shoulders. And that gets real stressful real quick because the average family caregiver is actually spending 22 hours a week providing unpaid care to their aging loved one, oftentimes in addition to a full-time job. So just imagine taking on a part-time job that's unpaid, the stress that goes along with that.
That's how I view my friendship with Gretchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a great caregiver, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. She's
Thank you
really
for turning
thriving.
that.
Yeah. So, Justin, we've talked a little bit about the specific role, and before we get back to the Area Office on Aging as a whole and why this is important, you look like you're 15 years old. You're ageless, timeless. But where are you from? How did you get in this line of work, and why does it matter so much to you on a molecular level, which I know that it does?
Yeah. So when I grew up in a little town in Wood County called Haskins. And, my parents were obviously a big factor and role models in my life, but next to that, probably my great-grandpa was the next biggest role model.
Great-grandpa?
Yeah, great-grandpa.
How about that?
Yeah,
Right.
So he lived to be 104. And up
Get
until,
out of town.
Yeah. So up until the last year of his life, he was living in his own home, mowing his own grass, cutting cooking his own food and the like, and even starring in some local TV commercials for a local eye doctor. So, I just remember really admiring his longevity, admiring his independence. So the work we do at the Area Office on Aging and helping people live better and longer and long, independent lives like him is super meaningful to me personally.
Gretchen, did you hear that? He is mowing his own grass.
I haven't done that for 20
in full
years.
transparency, Gretchen lives across the street from my mother in a house that looks like it's condemned.
It does.
Largely because
Just on the outside. The inside looks great.
It's even worse. That's right. What was this gentleman's name?
Yeah, we called him Poppy lovingly, but Emery Goodsight was his name. So the eye doctor that did his cataract surgery at age 99 loved his last name, Goodsight. And he started in a local eye doctor's commercial. So I just remember sitting at the sitting at the kitchen table as a kid in elementary school. We had TV on the table, and occasionally that commercial would come on with him. And I just remember walking out to the school bus, with my chest puffed out, super proud to be able to call him.
He was on the commercial. That's so cute.
Commercial aside, talk to me a little bit about the mentorship, the time that you spend with them, and then how it transitioned into education to joining the Area Office on Aging.
Yeah, so I remember just being in a culture in our family where we celebrated aging.
Yeah.
I didn't realize at the time that was really countercultural to sometimes our national culture that tends to be kind of ageist. Mm-hmm. So I remember, for example, being out by the road with my great-grandpa when he turned 100 in my front yard, and my dad did things big. So he rented one of those big spotlights that you can see from miles around and headed out by the road and had big banners that said Happy 100th Birthday,
You're
Poppy.
kidding.
That's so
That's
cool.
so
I was just standing out there with Poppy, and as cars were driving by, they'd honk, and he'd just wave at him and like it. And that was the culture I grew up in, is where we just celebrated aging. And it just didn't just rub off on me. I remember my great-grandma when she was in, or my grandma when she was in her 80s, just, looking forward to her next birthday, because she was 1 year closer to living to be 100 like Poppy, right?
Sure.
And I see that with my now 7-year-old son. When he was 6, he talk, when's my next birthday, Dad? When's my next birthday? And now he's 7, he's like, when's my next birthday, Dad? So I think at some point, that's very natural in life, but oftentimes we lose that at some stage in our life. And I think we need to ask ourselves, why is that? Because
That's an important point. Again, we're talking to the president and CEO of the Area Office on Aging, Justin Moor, who refuses to put an E at the end of his name based on just laziness. Justin, at the risk of putting you on the spot, ageism is certainly a real thing. And I don't know if it's something that we put on the top of the pyramid of things that we're trying to solve for. But what is the culture of ageism, and what are the negative effects of this on what is now, I think, the largest portion of our population, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, so I think it's arguably one of the last socially acceptable isms, right?
Sure.
So if somebody says a racist comment to me in conversation, I'm likely going to push back on that. But how often do we in conversations hear an ageist comment and just kind of let it lie?
Sure.
I think we need to challenge ourselves to step up and push back when we hear those kind of comments, because not only is it not good for our culture, it's not good for us as individuals.
Yeah, right.
There's a recent study that was done that said that people that have a negative perception of aging actually live 7.5 years less than those that have a positive image of aging or perception of aging. So, this is really important for us to live a long life ourselves, to really embrace this positive view of aging, because the reality is it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If we
Certainly.
believe that aging is just this terrible thing, and we get real depressed real quick, and it ends up, shortening our lifespan. But if we believe it's positive and full of opportunities, that's the way that we're going to live out, and we're going to live longer that way.
What do you think about or what does the Area Office on Aging believe is as a concern for seniors in our community? Like, what is the State of the Union type status of seniors living in and around our region now?
So I think it's eye-opening, and it's a kind of a tale of two cities within one city, right? So we've...
That's a book.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
It's an intro to a book.
Yeah.
Okay, don't. I can shut this show
Well,
off. Right
no, it's a book. You're right. But no, it says it's the best of times and worst of times, right?
Yeah.
And
This is the epic of despair right now. Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
So we serve 10 counties in Northwest Ohio,
That's amazing
150 miles across, and we looked, as an organization that helps people live better and longer, where is a neighborhood in that 10-county area where people are living the longest? And I would have guessed like maybe Ottawa Hills or Sylvania or Monclova, but the reality is it was a West Toledo neighborhood called DeVoe, where people live in the average age of 84.
Wow.
And we wanted to learn what the best practices are to try to replicate that in other neighborhoods. And then we also want to see where people are living the least long in that 10-county area, because wherever the need is the greatest, that's where we want to be, right, to help out and serve. And it was actually less than 4 miles away from DeVoe in a North Toledo neighborhood called Vistula, where people are only living an average age of 62.
Wow.
Toledo's first neighborhood also.
Yeah.
That's
So,
a
it's the
huge
oldest
difference.
neighborhood in Toledo, and it's ironically the neighborhood where you're least likely to live long, right?
That's
Or
right.
live to be an old age kind of deal. And, so we took a deep dive in the census data, comparing those two, and certainly there's an income factor.
I
Certainly
just want
there's
to put a point on that, though. I went to DeVoe, and I lived just adjacent to that neighborhood most of my life now. And DeVoe by no means is this wildly affluent place. It's certainly a good neighborhood, but you're not comparing Beverly Hills to, Gary, Indiana, which is where my people are from, so I can say that in a relatively disparaging way. I just cannot believe that, to your point, that's 4 miles away, and life is so different. Justin, and I think before I rudely interrupted, you were about to get into this, but what are the factors that play into that? And I know there's a clinical portion of it, but I do want to talk about some of the softer portions of it, because one of your most important muscles is between your ears, and that is not age specific by any means. So what's the disparity there, or what are the Area Office Aging's science facts of that, and also your thoughts? And talk to me about the soft spaces here.
Yeah, so there's several factors. I'll touch on 5 of them. One is income. And when we compare 3 neighborhoods, let's say, for example, DeVoe, where people are living the longest, Vistula, where they're living the least long, and then a neighborhood that most people would have guessed where people are living the longest, Monclova, for example. The story is more income leads to more life only up to a point. Mm-hmm. So average household income in Vistula, about 10 grand a year, DeVoe, about 60 grand a year, and then Monclova, like 115 grand a year, right? So you get more life, but people are living more or longer in DeVoe than Monclova. So I think if I were to kind of read into that, I would say that you need enough income to be able to handle the basics, right? Mm-hmm. And live fairly comfortably, where you're not worried about the next, I'm going to be able to afford food, the rent, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But then I think sometimes when you get to higher income neighborhoods, maybe those jobs that individuals are working, they're spending like, working 12-hour days and just like, super high stress and not exercising as much as they could or should, or eating as healthy as they could or should, getting enough rest, going to their doctor's appointments as often as they should, all that kind of stuff, right? So income's a factor. The other thing is, this is a correlation, not necessarily causation, but one thing that stuck out to me is housing. The amount of having a healthy balance of ownership, owner-occupied housing, as well as rental. So in DeVoe, it's 85% ownership, 15% rental. Vistula is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So when you just look at the quality of housing, sometimes, unfortunately, non-owner occupied homes aren't always kept up as well as they could or should be. So 0% of the households in DeVoe have incomplete plumbing. So meaning, they all have working toilets and working showers and like. But in Vistula, 3% of the households have incomplete plumbing, so no toilet, no shower. And I've been in one of those homes, where a grandma's raising her grandchild and they're going to the bathroom in a bowl and taking out the 5-gallon bucket in the garage kind of deal. So it's real. And you think of the health and safety kind of thing, concerns associated with that. Transportation is a third. So 50% of the households in DeVoe have no form of transportation. So think about not being able to go to your dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, so on and so forth. Another one is lack of access to dental care.
Yeah.
Half of the individuals.
Yeah. So what?
We've got Gretchen's wacky quiz to get to, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. We could have you on as most of our guests forever, but talk to us about the services and where people can connect the easiest before we get into the silly portion of your interview. But give us the outro here from your perspective, and how can people connect?
Yeah, so if people that are either age 60 plus or caring for an aging loved one, or others can reach out to the Area Office on Aging, certainly via our website, Area Office on Aging, or our phone number, 419-382-0624. And we just provide lots of different services, everything from helping individuals that are turning 65 and not sure which Medicare plan is going to save them the most money on their health insurance.
Oh, that's good.
Volunteer programs for those that want to be active and engaged as they retire. We also have home care programs. We have caregiver support programs. We have medical transportation that's available to get people to their doctor's appointments. Minor home repair for those needing ramps to get in and out of their house.
Yeah.
Are your programs income eligible programs, or can anybody partake in the senior centers or any other programs that you have?
The majority of our programs are for individuals age 60 plus and their family caregivers, regardless of income. There are some Medicaid funded programs that we have that do have income criteria, but the majority of those are for individuals age 60 plus, regardless.
And do you have volunteer opportunities for non-seniors? So
we do.
So people can come, and what kinds of things can people in the community do to support the Area Office on Aging?
Yeah, a big thing that we do is meet people where they're at in the community, and a lot of times we give them opportunities and things to look forward to. So we have an event with Toledo Public Schools called Senior Prom, where it's a night of dining and dancing. And that's an opportunity for people to volunteer and help kind of escort older adults down the red carpet at the event.
So
and the
fun.
like.
Yeah, you've been an escort before, Gretchen. Again, we're with Justin Moor, the President and CEO of Area Office on Aging. We brought you on thanks to the smart and careful thought process of the Toledo Community Foundation. Now it's the awkward transition into really important work, to Gretchen's wacky quiz. So if you don't know, we're going to ask you 6 questions. You're in the hot seat here, or 4, forgive me. And then we're going to ask you your favorite thing about the region. And then we're going to go through 9 things from your mouth that are your favorite things about the city and or region, all 11 counties that you serve. So, you ready, brother?
Let's do it.
All right, from the top. What terrible movie do you love? Never heard of
I'm going to go with Knocked Up.
Knocked Up. All right, I did not see that coming. Which game do you play the most on your phone?
Not a game guy on my phone. I'm an old school Nintendo Entertainment System
What's
guy.
the game on that? Go ahead.
So I'm going to go with Smash Bros. 64. We've been playing that a lot, my son and I.
Yes.
Okay.
What, your son, you play it?
Yeah.
My man. What is your favorite sport to watch? I know
Basketball.
I know the answer to this. Did you enjoy watching it from the bench in that Seago?
I did. Yeah, the splinters in the rear were a little rough, but other than that, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
What's the best advice you've been given?
Don't go on this show.
No, I think the importance of prayer.
That's an important part of your life, and I know that it's been a stalwart. So as you know, we're friends, and I'm proud of you. Gretchen.
What's your #1 most favorite thing, or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo or the region?
My last name is pronounced Killam.
I'm going to go with that's referred to oftentimes as Holy Toledo, right?
Okay,
I think that holy means that it's a place and a people that's set apart for God's special purpose. So I think there's no better way to describe a place and a people than that.
I love it. Okay, 9 words. You can do a phrase, you can do individual words, but 9 words that you would use to describe.
You got 30 seconds to back or
the
cough it
region.
up.
Yeah, I'm going to go with collaborative, caring,
Okay.
age-friendly,
My man.
river, hens, metro parks, library, museum,
One more.
and WGTE.
Got it.
A great way to close. What a brown noser. Justin Moore, a dear friend of the show and the region. We thank the Toledo Community Foundation for bringing you on. We thank your work, Justin. I know you've got a great team, and we did not get to them, but that's all you talked to me about, how great the people you work with, and your board's exceptional too.
Give us the website real quick where people can get more information.
Yeah, people can check us out at areaofficeonaging.com.
Okay.
All right. We are heading into our next segment, but we're going to say goodbye to a dear friend, Justin. Next, we'll have Cathy Kamenca on from our very own WGTE.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back to the 419, powered by WGTE and brought to you, or presented to you by Witro Wealth Management. Cathy Kamenca, you are now part of the Two Timers Club.
Awesome, thank you.
Which usually has a negative connotation, but not on this show. We are thrilled to have you back. You bring an amazing amount of energy, not just to our show. And without Kevin, we desperately need you.
Yeah.
But you bring a lot of energy to WGTE.
But look at all the energy you guys have brought. Look at all the great guests that you guys have interviewed and talking about the great things. There's so many people that do so many things in this city.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you watch this, it's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
And
it's a really great thing.
We used to say, aren't you worried that you're going to run out of guests? And we're like, absolutely not. There's a million people to
And we
talk
never
to.
had enough time when we have them here. And that is going to be true of you as well. So I do not want to eat in.
Cathy, I'm sorry, Matt, what is your role here at WGTE?
I am the TV programmer. I do all the TV schedules and also the engagement coordinator. So the thought is I take the shows out to the community.
100%.
I bring the community in to teach them about our TV shows.
And I know we covered this the last time you were on, but I don't care. I want to talk about it again anyway. How long have you been with WGTE? And you are clearly great at this. Why are you wired to be this effective?
He wanted to say insane, but he
Thank you.
didn't.
Oh, that's it. Well, insane is good.
That's why you fit on the
Insane
show.
is okay. I would take it as a compliment.
Yeah,
it's really
sure.
okay. But I've been here 24 years since February.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been here a while. Longest job I've ever had. I'm one of those people that always, when companies would consolidate, I got left behind and whatever.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I've been able to stay. So I've been very grateful. But I work with a great group of people.
Yes, you do.
For a great organization, and we do great things for the community. It's hard not to be happy all the time and really care about the stuff that we do.
Well, we're very proud to be part of the station.
We're so glad to have you. It's really been.
So one of the newest shows that just launched, I would say, in the last 2 weeks or so,
yes,
is a show called Sessions.
It's awesome.
And our
I'm so
friend
proud of it.
Kevin Mullen, who's not here today, is insanely into it.
Yes.
He's
I'm
insane
so glad.
into the video. He thinks it looks like a professional. I mean, it is a professional show, but like a nationally produced show. So tell everybody.
That's our production team right
Kevin
there.
can't be here today because he's having elective surgery.
Oh,
yeah,
darn.
And we sure hope that they fix it.
It's probably a lobotomy.
That's right. Another one. The first one didn't take.
Right.
Is that what happened?
He grew back.
Well, we'll still be doing sessions when he gets back. But yes, we Carrie Patrick Clark just dropped this past Saturday.
Oh, cool.
And Jake Paluski was a Saturday before.
He
If you
was
haven't
a
known
guest
Jake Paluski
on the show too.
Was a fantastic people guy.
Yeah.
And Jake has been like, well, I'll help you with anything you need to do with this, and Carrie Patrick Clark as well. So, but we have just a big diverse. We're starting off with 5 as a pilot. So we have 5 bands. They've done 5 songs for us. And then the thought is it's a kind of a multi-layered thing. It's a great Shane thought process. But
for those of you who don't know, Shane is our producer.
Production manager,
and
producer.
a total nightmare. Yeah, your words, Cathy.
Not my words.
Keep going.
I love Shane.
Words in my mouth. But anyway, so it's going to start out 2 songs on the digital to give you a little bit of a taste, kind of like an NPR Tiny Desk kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then later on,
I love that.
We're hoping, I have 8 bands yet to film, so we're hoping for support at this point to support this project and get it supported so then we can do the rest of them. They'll get the 2 songs on the digital, and then everything will go into a long-form show, half-hour show, like an Austin City Limits kind of show.
So these are...
and there's interviews with them as well.
Right, and these are their original songs.
Yes.
And you're recording these songs live
at Danny's in Ressner. They have so grateful given us the club room upstairs.
That's so
They
great.
are so great to work with.
Yeah.
And they love having us up there. They promote us when we're there. And I know, it's such a great thing.
Cathy,
I'm so grateful to them.
WGTE has been a stalwart for millennia in certainly Northwest Ohio and all over. So I wouldn't suggest necessarily WGTE is pivoted because they've always been telling Toledo stories and the region stories.
For sure.
But you've really doubled down on that, and Sessions is a great example of that. Why is this important? And can you talk a little bit about sort of the hyper-local focus?
Well, the hyper-local focus, I think, is Toledo has to support WGTE now.
Yep.
You know, we've lost a parent company, so to speak. So now we are orphans. That's what I tell people at my events. We're orphans. So mom and dad, hi, I'm your child.
And we're proud.
Good. But we need your support.
Yeah.
So I think to do that support, we should really focus on community local shows.
Yeah.
Shows about them and the community and stuff that Toledo really cares about.
Sure. And it really is a singular location in our community, in my opinion, that is focused on hyper-local.
Right.
That when we have these conglomerates that are joining each other and broadcasting from outside of the area with non-local people, WGT is really the antithesis of that. So it's very exciting.
Hopefully we're the glue that's pulling that together.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to Sessions, what else is happening?
There's a whole bunch of things.
Oh gosh, with our Toledo stories, we have the Metro Parks thing that we're doing. We have 2 documentaries, and then
Matt's not going to be in that, is he?
Are you?
No.
Okay.
No, actual professionals.
Are you?
Yeah, actual talented people are going to be on. Yep. But give us the whole boat. And
Shane
tell us
has
your
the whole
favorite.
boat.
Tell us your favorite.
Well, then my favorite's going to be Sessions because I'm really involved in it. And my husband and I have watched live music forever. That's kind of our thing. We don't go karaoke. We go see live bands and have before we knew each other. So but Toledo has so many live bands. There's so much talent in Toledo, and there's so much great things happening in Toledo. People helping people, doing great things for people.
Well,
so I think a lot of that is a part of it.
Cool connection about Sessions and when it's coming out is that some of these same bands and artists are going to be the same bands that are going to be at Party in the Park this summer.
Right.
Because they're doing also an all local focus and local talented bands at that. Including Jake's band is going to be one of the people that are going to be performing.
But it gives these guys exposure. A lot of people don't know how great there's so many good talent in Toledo.
Sure.
Singers and for all kinds of good reasons, and just some people just like to do it. They just want to do it on their own.
We're with Cathy Kamenca from our very own WGTE. But Cathy, I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a local band, but tell me the best concert you've ever been to.
Oh my gosh. I've been to over 150 concerts.
Get out of town.
Oh no, and I still go to concerts all the time. I have like 2 in April and 3 in May. I mean, if you ever go to my Facebook, it's my sister and my husband always at concerts.
Give me your favorite of all time, the one you're looking the most forward to.
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, I love music for anything from Mozart to Metallica.
Okay.
So I just love music.
Yeah.
And Barry Manilow is next. He's had to postpone his. That
was my very first concert.
Was it really?
And I was in 4th grade. At the University of Toledo. He performed at the University of Toledo in Savage Hall.
Yeah.
And I still remember like the Copacabana, he comes out on this thing, and I couldn't imagine how they were doing it, how they were getting him.
Comes out on what thing?
He comes out on this, he's got the Copacabana outfit on, with the big sleeves.
Okay.
And they're like, it looks like he was like floating out, but he was like being, at a concert, they were like bringing him out on the stage.
Sure.
But it was like mesmerized. I'd never seen anything
Cathy, I think
like
he is your height. But
he's been sick with lung cancer, so he's had to postpone. So now we're at August 2nd.
Okay.
My second favorite, I'm seeing John Anderson and the Geek Orchestra
Nice.
on my birthday. So I'm very excited about that. It's up at Royal Oak.
Are you going to see Bruno Mars?
What's that?
Are you going to go to any of the Bruno Mars shows?
You know, I don't. We've tried to. Me and my sister looked into it. So I'm kind of shy on stadium shows. I like to go to more event
Smaller
shows.
ones.
I feel trapped in a stadium a little
Interesting.
bit. And you get bad seats.
Yeah,
you can pay a lot of money for a really bad seat.
Gretchen, you are a concert goer. So some of it is dragging your niece and nephews with you.
I'm going to see Jill Scott this summer.
Are you?
Yep,
Excellent.
in Detroit, and then also Bruno Mars. So,
Right. Oh, good
What's your
for you.
favorite concert of all time? You can't say Barry Manilow now.
Probably U2 in Chicago.
Ooh.
Loved
U2
it.
fan?
Yes, I like U2. I have never seen them, but I know a girl that works at the Way Library is a U2 fan, and she's seen them many times.
And then
loves them.
in high school, my friend Christy Combs and I were allowed to go on a school night to Cleveland.
Oh my goodness.
To see U2 then. That was for the Joshua Tree
wow.
tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we got lost, and it was a whole thing, but we had to go. The only agreement with our mothers was that we had to go to school the next day.
Okay.
So that was a terrible next
Cleveland.
day. But it was so fun. It was
I remember
so fun.
going to school the next day after going to the sports arena, and that was hard.
Yeah. Kathy, what is a concert that your husband loves that you loathe?
I don't know. I don't know if I loathe any.
Oh, yeah, all
yeah.
right.
So Stevie Ray Vaughan would be. We've seen him twice.
Okay.
So the great show.
But you love all the same stuff.
Yeah, we do love the same stuff, and I
That's
love a little bit different stuff, and he loves different stuff. But yeah, Tedeschi Trucks is a big one. We really like together a lot. That he has liked more than me, but I really do like them. So.
Walk us through. It is spring, right? Or
Yes.
at least allegedly. It doesn't always feel like it.
It doesn't, not right now. It doesn't.
Walk us through a little bit of the closing schedule or ramping up spring summer for WGTE.
Oh well, we just started this Sunday. PBS has started 3 new masterpieces. We're on our 2nd episode, but Call the Midwife, season 15, huge show.
Love that show.
Love women having babies 8 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yes,
sure.
But in low income
I love
England.
those little
but
nurses.
yes, but
They're
we still
so
have
cute.
a season 16 coming.
Okay.
So that's not
Season
done yet.
16.
Yeah.
Season
Holy
16.
cow.
You watch that show?
I've never seen
really
it.
the
What's the premise
stories
of
are
it?
just so heartwarming
What's
the
and
premise?
sweet. It started in 1950s England when universal health care came, and the nuns employed these nurses to come and help these women had no health care, and they're having babies.
They had babies at home. And
they had babies at home, and they need health care and other health care too. So, and it's kind of then their personal stories blend in with the nuns' personal stories. It's just sweet and elegant. It's
Universal healthcare, so it's science fiction?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like when it started
It's a dystopian
in the 50s.
future.
The big one with PBS is the Foresights. They put a lot of money, a lot of promotion
I've heard
behind
a lot about
it.
this.
We just had the 2nd episode this past Sunday. And
so this is like a period drama.
It's 1880s England.
Oh,
and the Forsyths are a big, prominent family, and they are into stock.
Okay.
They're very rich. They're new at being rich. So they're very worried about their reputation. They're very worried about, how they look. The matriarch, Anne, has her family. And, it's full of money and riches and the time period clothing,
How
lust,
do I say it, Kathy?
sex, the whole bit, the whole
gamut.
bit. Yeah, the whole gamut. Everything that we love in a drama.
I don't want to highlight my hubris here, but I am not fearful of being new rich.
No, you're not?
No, I'm not.
They
I would try it out.
The Forsyths seem to be doing quite well with it.
I would.
I think you take to it
you
pretty
see the
quick.
women want to be independent, though, and you see that little struggle.
Yeah.
They have to be independent in their man-dominated world.
Well, they didn't get the money then. It was the man. It was the man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of male-dominated, I'm taking the reins back of this show, Cathy.
It's Women's History Month.
That's
still,
right.
man.
You cannot, guys. I'm in charge. Kevin's not here.
I see how this
Always a
goes
sign
now.
of a good leader when
we
you
actually have
announce.
no idea
When
how
you
this
announce,
goes.
I'm in charge.
Okay.
You know you're doing well. When you're like,
right.
I'm in charge, guys.
That's right. Isn't that what you told me to say?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Can I just mention one more show?
Yeah, please.
10 o'clock on Sundays, The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh,
Now, what's
my
this?
God.
Oh, this is the story of a man who was wrongfully accused
You don't know
of
the
being
Count
a
of Monte
spy,
Cristo?
No,
being a spy to Napoleon, and he has to go to jail for 15 years. He was going to marry his love of his life. They took her away. They put him in this jail in this dungeon for 15 years. Jeremy Irons is in it,
I love
and
Jeremy
he confides in him, and he helps him get out and find this money, and he becomes the Count of Monte Cristo, and then he pays revenge on all the people that
Isn't
put
that
him
also
away.
a sandwich?
It's an 8-episode thing, but people are loving
This
it.
is one of my favorite stories of all time. Put you on the spot. What is your favorite Jeremy Irons role in the movie?
I can't think of one.
Yeah, fun part of the show. Thanks, Gretchen. She's real fast on her feet, isn't she, Cathy? You should take her out on the road and leave her. All right, our 4 questions.
Yes.
The answer is Reversal of Fortune, Gretchen, or Scar from Lion King.
Oh, I've
Anyway.
never seen Lion King. I've never seen it.
All right, what is
Okay,
the
wait.
worst...
You didn't do the intro, Matt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's Gretchen's Wacky Quiz.
Oh, I get to do it too?
Yeah.
Of course
Oh
you
my
get to
gosh.
do it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I feel kind of honored at
I
this
am going
point.
to add a question to the floor because you and I talked a little bit before your segment started.
Yes.
What's a terrible movie that you love?
Oh, it's Strange Brew by the Mackenzie brothers, Rick Moranis and Bob Thomas. I mean, come on.
That is such a good
great
answer.
Movie.
Gretchen is too cultured to have watched it, I guess. But if you've got time,
you got to make it through the beginning. When they're at the movie, they trash the movie with a whole bunch of bugs. But then after that, the movie really takes off, and it's so funny.
And Cathy,
I am a Rick Moranis stan.
This is an educational show. A whole mess is a metric of measurement, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Back to the quiz. Stop messing around, Cathy. What is the worst job you could have?
Oh boy.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably cleaning up. Poop.
You can say poop.
Okay.
Yeah, good for you. How brave.
Yeah.
Which aspect of your life would you like to improve?
Oh,
your foul mouth.
Maybe. My attitude.
That's right. Oh yes, you are known for
You need
having
to adjust it down.
terrible attitude. If you could
Bring it down.
a rare person, they're like, could you be a little more dour?
Calm down.
Okay, stop screwing around, guys. If you could be any flavor of ice cream, which flavor would you be?
Oh, chocolate mint.
Yeah.
I was going to say mint chip.
Yeah. You were going to say chocolate mint?
I was going to say mint chip.
Mint chip. That's what
What's
I
your favorite ice cream flavor, Gretchen?
Mint chip.
Yeah. That's not a thing.
I like blackberry
Mint
chocolate too.
chip.
Yeah, mint chocolate chip. That's it. That's
from Handel's. That's the best one.
I think
For
it's
sure.
called Handel's,
Yeah,
but that's fine.
whatever.
What were the last 2 books that you read? Just make them up.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time since I read an actual book
Same
because
here.
I have boys and I was a sports mom.
Yeah,
so there's
sure.
no time for books.
What about book that turned into a movie?
That doesn't cheapen it for our viewers or watchers. I assure you.
What's the Thornbergs?
Yeah.
Okay,
The
there you
Thornbergs.
go.
I did read that book.
How about
and I
that?
did read when I was younger. I read the whole American series, like the Furies and the Americans
Yes.
and what was it? The Bastard, the Americans, the Furies, all those. There was like 8 books. Those were so good. I did
That
read
show
that.
is still being televised now. It
I
was
know.
on for 9 years.
So
was.
good.
It is so long.
good. So
All right.
educational.
What's your number one most favorite thing or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo or the region?
I just love the diversity and the acceptance of the diversity. I think we're a compassionate city.
I do
Okay.
too.
And I do love that.
Can you come up with 9 things?
Oh,
We
gosh,
got
I don't
9
know.
things,
Okay.
9 words, 9
words?
things that you would use to describe the city of Toledo or the region.
Okay, I would do diversity.
Okay.
Still, I would go with compassionate.
Okay.
Variety of things to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Restaurants.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, tough. You put me on the spot there. I don't know. I like a lot of different kinds of
All right.
food, so
Okay.
that's tough.
That's a good-
Mediterranean
Okay.
food for sure.
All right.
Yeah. Just fun things. The culture is so good here in Toledo.
Kathy,
We're
if
a
you
big
don't-
city, but yet.
If you don't say Metro Parks, I'll cut that microphone.
Okay,
and
Metro
go-
Parks,
yeah.
Metro Parks, Museum,
Yes.
the zoo,
Yeah.
obviously great partners with the zoo.
Great partners.
Of course, WGTE, because we try to do really good stuff in the community with you, with the Metro Parks, with the zoo, with the
Yeah.
museum, with everybody else.
Okay, that's great. If you had, final question.
Okay.
If you could make any show, budget wasn't an issue, star power wasn't an issue. If you could make any show that would be on WGTE, what would your dream show be?
Are you really ready for this?
Yes.
You're probably going to be sad that you
I didn't
asked.
even know that you had one, so I'm glad you do.
We have TJ Levinsky, who started those doo-wop shows. He was just a programmer like me and just started calling those and made a show. I would love to do that with like the 70s rock bands that are still kind of touring, like do a really big concert kind of thing like Aerosmith, Kiss, all those old bands, Styx, Journey, get them all together and do some kind of really big pledge show with some really awesome gifts. I would have not mugs and DVDs, something really fun like tickets to their show, that kind of thing to get them. That would be
a dream scenario.
That would be my
the only
dream
thing I
job.
have to say about that in terms of pushback is just a programmer is hardly how I would describe Cathy Kamenca.
That's right.
It's so nice to have you on the game.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
me
being here.
back.
Thank you for everything you're doing for our beloved WGTE.
Thank you for
and
being here, and thank you for what you guys are doing here by letting people know all the great stuff that goes on in the city.
It's a
and the
pleasure to
great
do
people.
so. All right, when we come back, we will have Meg Ressner, a friend of the show, a friend of the region, and recent recipient of a Milestones Award.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back to the 419. It is a strong close here. We've had some great guests. Justin Moor, who again refuses to put an E at the end of his last name from the Area Office on Aging. Cathy Kamenca, WGTE star for 25 years. And the caboose, our strong closer, is a friend of the show, a friend of the region, Meg Ressner.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Now, this show is airing obviously after the big YWCA event, which was last week. So tell us a little bit about the day. You were an award winner this year for business.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the day. I know it's such a big day for all of the award winners. I was there. It was so great to see you up on the stage and receiving your award. But can you tell us a little bit about the experience?
Sure. First of all, Lisa and their team just did an incredible job. The day started with a private session where there were many, many proclamations from lots of different officials. And it began with a pinning ceremony where they give you the pin. And my pin was presented by Rita Mansour, who was my nominator.
Yeah.
And so that was an incredible moment. And my sister and my sister-in-law were both there and kind of got to witness that whole way of Toledo just embracing and recognizing, you know, all these amazing women. And the class of honorees this year was just incredible. I was really touched to be included with them.
Meg, we're always at risk when we bring people that we love and we know so well on the show without sort of telling their story from the beginning, right? Because we know it. But I did not know you earlier in your career, but I do know it. Can you talk a little bit about your story, your family, which are certainly part of how you were able to receive such an important reward, but that's part of how this became to be, right?
Yes.
So if somebody's listening and for some reason doesn't know you, which is their loss, who is Meg Ressner?
So I grew up in a military family. I'm one of six. I'm fifth of six kids. We call ourselves the fortunate six, actually.
Yeah.
Who do you like the least of the other five? No, I'm just kidding.
I love them all.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
we also love Kevin.
Well, Kevin, yes, is my youngest brother.
Yeah.
And my, I was fortunate enough that we lived in one place for when I was from like 1st to 8th grade, but then I went to 3 high schools.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I left Northern Virginia, which is where we were, and we went to high school in Hawaii, which is why I have this lei on. And then we moved to Japan, where I graduated from high school in a Department of Defense high school, just outside of Tokyo.
Okay.
But Hawaii was one of our favorite tours. My dad was there twice. And so anytime we have a significant family event, leis come from Hawaii, Federal Express. And so these were presented to me after the ceremony.
But your dad also is somebody to be acknowledged. And
yes, indeed. So my dad was a 1942 ROTC graduate from Princeton University and joined the Army, obviously, and became a 4-star general.
Yeah.
So he's lacking leadership skills.
He doesn't have any.
That's right. How are you able to overcome?
So he was just a leader from the get-go and revered by those who worked for him. I think a lot of my leadership style is adapted from him. Somebody said to me yesterday, like, you're always like so straight and so honest and so clear about what you want, but then you do it with this heart and generosity. And that's, I think, how my father was described as well.
Would you describe your father that way, or do you think that's some influence of your mom? Like, how were you raised by a 4-star general?
So my parents were an incredible team. I have an autistic brother who's a year and a half older than me, so he was a lot of the center of how our family moved through life. And you know, he was born when autism wasn't even really known. And they accused moms of being refrigerator moms and blamed the moms for this childhood. And she was just ahead of her time. She navigated his world just like a care navigator would do today. She found him a child psychiatrist. She got him into music. She had him swimming, all of the things that we do today for children and adults with autism. So they were an incredible team. And my dad was gone for a year and a half, and we were all home. My mom was on her own.
Wow.
And I just remember my dad, we had pictures of my dad over every light switch to remind us to turn off the lights.
Turn them off.
And then also just to make sure everybody knew he was watching.
That's right.
And so they were really an incredible team. And my mom was the softer side for sure. But they've just raised us with just the opportunity. Each one of us is very different and has pursued different careers and have talents in different ways. And my parents really embraced that.
How did you land in Toledo?
Gretchen, you were raised by Major Magic.
That's right. Same thing, really.
Want to talk about the parallel of that?
Same outcome.
That's exactly right. No, but that's I interrupted for Gretchen, which is for the benefit of the show. But getting to Toledo, get us here, get us to Toledo.
So I went to school at the University of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And the reason I went there was because we had relatives there, and we were living in Japan, and my parents didn't know where they were going to be. And they're like, when your first year back in the States, after 4 years of traveling, being outside of the mainland, we want you to be near family. So I was going to go to Rhode Island for a year and then transfer somewhere, Virginia or somewhere. And I fell in love with URI, so I stayed there. And Owens Corning recruited on the URI campus.
Okay.
And so I joined Owens Corning, and my first job was in Chicago. And I worked in Chicago, and that's where my husband Dick was also working. So Owens Corning, we met over the phone, if you can believe it.
No.
Yes, yes. So he was working at one location, I was working at the other.
Yeah.
That's the best way to meet me, I find.
Right, yes, and have the phone be disconnected.
Just always on the phone.
No video, just the phone. You didn't have any idea what I looked like, nothing,
And what kind of work were you doing for Owens Corning?
So I was a customer service rep in a distribution center.
Okay.
Which was also very funny because I thought I was moving to Chicago. So I thought I was going to be like in the city. And my sister helped me negotiate my, starting salary package. And she's like, be sure and ask them if there's parking and like what the parking costs. And so they're like, oh, there's plenty of parking. Because I was in an industrial
you're in
park.
like Schaumburg or something.
Yes, Elborough Village, the largest industrial park in the United States at the time.
I'm
in a
sure
warehouse.
Plenty of parking.
Sure, it was beautiful.
Plenty of parking.
So what were the job positions that you
So we were both in customer service.
Okay, I want to make sure he wasn't your boss.
Nope.
Okay.
I was in the north location, he was in the south location.
Okay.
And I was miserable. Like I was like, why did I do this? I didn't have any friends. I had lived in the suburbs. I should have lived in the city. I just had made some bad initial choices.
Sure.
And every night at 5 o'clock we would talk, and he would talk me off the ledge. And then the next morning I would come in because we had to share inventory and coordinate drivers together and those kinds of things. Yes, inventory.
Yeah.
And then one day one of the drivers that we used to transport goods back and forth said, "You got to go meet this girl."
Yeah.
And so we did, and we dated for 4 years before anybody knew.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
and then
beautiful.
you got somehow one or both of you got transferred to the Toledo?
So we both got transferred. We were the first joint couple to get transferred by the relocation department at Owens Corning. And so I came to the headquarters in Toledo, which was the Fiberglass Tower at the time. And Dick was working in the Detroit office for the supply division.
You finished your career there?
I did.
And when did you retire from there?
I left in 2008.
Okay.
And Dick was working, and he had moved to a different company, and then he started his own manufacturer's rep business. And in 2008, when I left Owens Corning, as you know, the economy was in
doing great.
Yeah, it was awful. And he was repping commercial roofing up in Detroit and relying on all of the auto dealers for their re-roofs. And of course, they weren't doing any of that. They weren't investing in their properties. And so he said, well, I'm going to take a sabbatical. So I said, okay. And then I took a year and just tried to figure out what I wanted to do. And I did a lot of reflection. I took advantage of all of the outplacement opportunities and really got grounded around things that were important to me and my values.
If I may, at the risk, it's not a live show, so don't worry, but it puts you on the spot.
Yeah.
Your dad is the definition of success and the model. Can you talk to me a little bit about taking a sabbatical? Was that something that sounds very brave to me, meaning like it's okay to take a step here and figure out what's right for me.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that process? Because it's probably not, somebody that is a pillar in the community, which you will not be comfortable with me saying, but that's true. It's probably not intuitive to people that you have also had to do things like this, and your road has not been this linear path.
Right.
So can you talk to me a little bit about that stop to reflect and decide?
Yeah. When I left Owens Corning, it was an incredibly difficult time for me.
Yeah.
I was only 50.
Yeah.
It was earlier than I had expected. It had been my whole
career
life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's where I met my husband, and I have, to this day, very deep and lasting, friendships.
Yeah,
and it
yes,
was
you
really
do.
a bit of my identity.
Of
and
course.
So I remember my dad and my whole family saying, we're going to love you right through this.
Yes.
And, I explored some things. And fortunately, Dick is a saver. So, it wasn't like, oh my God, we got to get a job the next day. We're not going to have food on the table. So we had saved for this time. It was just earlier than we expected.
Sure.
And it's the thing that I love doing today is when people are going through those transitions, I love to walk them through my story.
Yes.
And also, I give them tools that I used that worked for me.
Yeah.
And I just actually had a conversation with a woman who's going through a similar situation. Sure. And she said this spreadsheet, which I'm known for, changed her whole perspective about what to do next. Because it's an inventory. Like, what's important to you? How much money do you need to make?
Yeah.
Do you need benefits? What kind of people do you want to look for? What kind of work do you want to do? And you get really grounded that these are my non-negotiables. And one of my non-negotiables was I've got to be flexible to be with family, and I'm not ready to go get married to another big company be on 3 weeks of vacation. And that's how I landed on my
being your consulting company. So what is the name of your consulting company?
Meg Ressner and Associates.
And what was the sort of, there's all kinds of consultants out there, but what was your topic, if you will, of the consultancy that you were doing?
So it started out in more of a process orientation, like helping companies document their processes and get ready for major change initiatives, particularly like technology deployments.
Right.
Because I did, 13 SAP deployments at Owens Corning. So it started off in that path. And my first couple of years were working with another consultant on projects like that. And then I started to do more of bringing my HR work into the picture. So strategic planning, leadership development, HR, helping companies find their vision. And then I started working with a lot of nonprofits, which that was like the perfect intersection to bring your professional skills in to organizations that are having,
process is process, right?
It is.
And applying that skill set that you have to any.
Correct.
Yeah.
The technology, it's technology agnostic. It's like if you know your processes and you document the way that you want them to be, then you can start to build the right tools and technology and change management around that.
But the unusual combination that you are, Meg, is everything you just said might sound like Greek to others or clinical, but you do bring a human and soft portion of it, which is an absolutely rare gift of wedding of the two things, which I know I can see you screaming right now.
I do want to get to the quiz, but I want to ask one additional question, and that is about Solheim. That was when I first met you.
Me too.
And
my life has been terrible ever since.
Actually,
I feel sad ever since.
I met you when you came to work with your mom, but we just didn't know it.
That's true. Yes.
Because Matt's mom worked at Owens Corning.
That's right.
And when we met later on, I was like, kill him. Like, are you related? And like, I know you're his uncle. And I was like, I remember like when Cathy brought you to work.
Yeah.
Probably because you got kicked out of school.
It doesn't matter. It was just a day at work.
Bring your son to work day.
That's right. We were pioneers.
Yes, you were.
Solheim Cup was in the whole Solheim experience. You were a key component of that. It was such a huge event. It was planned during a global pandemic. Yep. Talk a little bit about your either memories of that or what you're most proud of.
Yeah. So I was the co-chair with Richard Hyland, and I started on the bid committee. So Inverness put a committee together that represented Inverness as well as members of the community to prepare the bid to present to the LPGA. And so really I was involved from the very beginning. And we went down to the LPGA headquarters and made our presentation. And then when we were the successful venue, then we became part of a committee that really planned the entire event. And I think there are two things I think I'm most proud of. One is the initiative we did called Toledo is for Everyone, where we really wanted everybody in Toledo to know that they were welcome and that they belonged.
Correct.
And golf is not necessarily the most inclusive sport, and so lots of people didn't think that they belonged.
Yeah.
And so Toledo is for Everyone was a collaboration between lots of organizations, including the Area Office on Aging with Justin and the Site Center and Memory Lane Care Services and the Ability Center. And we didn't want people to just come get on a scooter and not know where to go if they needed help or transportation. We put programs together with large print so that people who had low vision could see. Yes. We had a sensory-friendly vehicle there. So if you had somebody that had sensory challenges, a child or an adult, they had a place to go to get away from the noise and the craziness.
Yeah.
And so that inclusive aspect to the tournament was really important to me. And the second thing was, I said from the very beginning that I didn't want anybody to wake up on Tuesday morning in Toledo and say I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we did the fan experience, which is where I met all of you, and through the city to just every restaurant. You know, when we went to Des Moines for the first Solheim Cup that I attended, we went downtown to dinner in our red, white, and blue, and people were like, what are you here for?
Right.
And I was like, how can you not know that the Solheim Cup is right down the street?
6 miles away.
And we're like, that's not going to happen.
No,
So
and
we went to every restaurant, we put posters, and so I just think, and my job was really just to make sure there were enough volunteers. So I feel like we took it to a whole nother level.
Yes.
And I think we were really recognized by the LPGA for nailing it. And Toledo really showed up in so many ways.
It was such an amazing weekend.
And thanks largely to your leadership.
Let's,
okay, we only have time for the 4 rapid fire
I think we can go into our section. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, you're not in charge,
leading the show.
So, all right, we've got
Let's do it.
Gretchen's Wacky Quiz. I know that you're somewhat prepared for this, Meg, but we'll start off with, what does happiness mean to you?
Family.
All right. If you could instantly become an expert in something, what would it be?
Music.
Yeah, me too.
When was the last time you laughed?
Minutes ago.
5 seconds ago.
What would you change about yourself?
What would I change about
Gretchen
myself?
and I have a list of things that we would change about you if it helped.
I think it goes back to this music. I have my family is full of musicians, and they play guitar and they sing, and I can't carry a tune, I can't play anything. So I think if I were musically inclined, I would be really, that would be it.
Let's take one more second. We won't do the 9, but let's do your number 1 most favorite thing about the city of Toledo or the region.
Community.
Very good.
All right.
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Meg Ressner, a friend of the family, friend of the region. You're a great leader and a great friend. Congratulations on a well-deserved award. We love you. And when we come back, we'll be closing out the show without Kevin. It will be the best show we've ever had. That is our promise to you. Thank you, WGTE. Thank you for the Toledo Community Foundation. We'll be back to wrap up.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
All right, welcome back. It is the close of our first solo show, Gretchen, as usual, carried by our guests and Meg Ressner, a great close, great lady. We were talking off the air just a little bit about Solheim and what a gift she is to the region. But that is a good segue to the entire cast of characters we had on today's program. It is an embodiment of what we wanted the show to be about, people telling their stories and reminding people of how great our region is.
It really is, and I was at the YWCA luncheon last week, and I was thinking, there were 600 and some odd people there. I'm like, we just go around the room and sign all these people up.
Yeah, that's right. No,
to be on the show, because
yes.
there are people doing good things everywhere, and they're not hard to find. Today's show, of course, is sponsored or supported by Toledo Community Foundation. They are the epicenter of a lot of great things happening. New leadership there, so Kate Sommerfeld and new crew are going to be bringing even more exciting things to life and supporting the community in a great way. We also navigated through some of the complexities of the show. Mm-hmm. I've had voices in my head, in my ear for the first time, and have them actually be real people, which is a challenge. Yeah. I have actually grown to appreciate Kevin, which is not something I thought I would ever say out loud. Yeah, me neither. I mean, I never thought you would say it.
Yeah. Well, we are closing the show, and this is the part I'm going to read to you.
Yes.
For those of you that might be listening or watching for the very first time, just a reminder.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes, I do.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. This is how you can catch us. WGTE's YouTube channel is at 7 a.m., FM 91 at 3 p.m., WGTE Connects 30.4 at 6 p.m. Of course, the beloved WGTE app, which is in brackets on my paper, it says on demand. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that
it's a demanding app.
My man. All right. Also, email the show, 419@wgte.org. We want your ideas. We don't want any of your negative comments. We delete those anyway. But thanks for supporting us. Thank you, WGTE, and thank you for Wheatro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.